He escaped captivity, lifted a nation, and shook empires. But behind his name, was it pride or guilt? Winston Churchill, the world's greatest savior or its greatest mystery? You will find out the answer in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
There are moments in world history when the will of a single individual changes the destiny of an entire nation, even of humanity itself. In the 20th century, such a man was Winston Churchill. It is not enough to know him only as the Prime Minister of Britain. Churchill was also a military strategist, a writer, and a speaker with a profound power of influence. His life, from aristocratic childhood to the fiery scenes of war, and then to the most critical decisions in history, offers viewers a story both dramatic and thought-provoking. Today, we will take a detailed look at Churchill's life and legacy, from his childhood years to the harsh days of World War II, from his peacetime political activity to his enduring literary heritage.
Childhood and education.
Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill was born on November 30th, 1874, at Blenheim Palace in England, into a prestigious aristocratic family. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a well-known political figure, and his mother, Jenny Jerome, came from a wealthy American family. This blend of backgrounds gave Churchill both the strict traditions of the English aristocracy and the free-spirited nature of the Americans. But his childhood was far from ideal. Churchill experienced coldness from his father and distance from his mother. At school, he struggled, falling behind in mathematics and breaking rules. Yet he showed a special interest in history, literature, and military affairs. One of his teachers once said, "This boy is very lazy, but someday he will do great things." The stubbornness and willingness to take risks that were formed in these early years later became the pillars of his political leadership.
Military career.
In 1895, Churchill began his military career. He served in India, took part in the Battle of Omdurman in Sudan, and later became a war correspondent in the Boer War. His dramatic escape after being captured in South Africa made headlines worldwide. This event brought Churchill fame at a young age. He was not only an officer with a weapon in hand, but also a journalist who fought with his pen. The articles and books he wrote during these campaigns earned him money and paved the way for his political career.
Politics and ministries.
Elected to Parliament in 1900, Churchill quickly rose in politics. At first, he joined the Conservative Party, but later switched to the Liberals. Churchill supported labor reforms and social protection, showing that he was not just an aristocrat, but a politician who understood the needs of ordinary people. From 1908 onward, he held various positions: President of the Board of Trade, Home Secretary, and First Lord of the Admiralty. Under his leadership, the Royal Navy was modernized. However, the failure of the Gallipoli campaign during World War I was a heavy blow. Though this disaster was considered a political defeat for him, Churchill did not retreat. Instead, he returned to active military service and fought on the front lines.
World War II leadership.
The most dramatic stage of Churchill's life came during World War II. In 1940, as Hitler was conquering Europe one country after another, Churchill was appointed Prime Minister. Britain stood alone, France had fallen, the Soviet Union remained neutral, and the United States had not yet entered the war. At this critical time, Churchill's greatest weapon was his words. He addressed his people with unshakable resolve. "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. We shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight in the streets, we shall never surrender." These speeches inspired the British people, kept their fighting spirit alive, and called not only his nation but the entire world to resist Nazism.
Diplomacy, the big three.
Churchill's role was not limited to domestic politics. Together with U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt and Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, he formed the Big Three alliance. This cooperation proved decisive in defeating the Nazis. Yet Churchill never fully trusted the Soviet Union. Soon after the war, he delivered his famous Iron Curtain speech, marking the beginning of the Cold War. This demonstrated his foresight. He predicted the long-term confrontation between East and West.
Legacy and evaluation.
Opinions about Winston Churchill remain divided. Some consider him a hero and Democrat. Others view him as a figure who carried on imperialist policies. But one fact is undeniable. Churchill left a profound mark on history. Without his leadership, the outcome of World War II might have been very different. Even today, when people hear Churchill's name, the first things that come to mind are determination, resilience, and resolve.
Lessons for the future.
Winston Churchill's life teaches us that leadership is not only about holding power. True leadership also lies in the belief in the power of words, in inspiring hope during hardships, and in presenting a vision for the future. His legacy lives not only in Britain, but in the memory of the entire world. Churchill was just one man, yet his influence encompassed an entire century. Who was recognized as the world's first computer programmer? Charles Babbage, Alan Turing, Ada Lovelace, Grace Hopper. Ada Lovelace wrote the first algorithm intended for Babbage's analytical engine in the 19th century. She believed in combining mathematics with poetic imagination. Her concepts laid the foundation of modern programming. Today, her legacy is celebrated in tech communities worldwide. What is the largest flower species found in the Amazon rainforest? Rafflesia arnoldi, Victoria amazonica, Heliconia rostrata, Passiflora edulis. Rafflesia arnoldi is the largest flower on Earth, with a diameter over 1 meter. It emits a foul odor resembling rotten meat to attract insects. This scent aids in pollination. Its rarity and size make it a fascinating subject for tourists and researchers alike. What does the term Mandela effect refer to? Perfect memory recall, sharing the same memories, a phenomenon of collective false memories, timeless influence of leaders. The Mandela effect describes when large groups of people share the same false memory. For example, many believed Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s, but he actually passed away in 2013. This phenomenon led some to speculate about alternate realities. It's one of the most famous examples of collective memory errors in pop culture. In music psychology, what is the frisson effect associated with? Weakening of brainwaves, short-term memory disturbance, goosebumps and shivers, reduction in visual response. Frisson, a French term meaning shiver, refers to the involuntary body response when listening to powerful music. It may involve goosebumps, faster heartbeat, or teary eyes. The effect is linked to a surge of dopamine in the brain during strong emotional engagement. Orchestral and film scores often trigger this sensation. Who officially holds the record for the fastest 100 meters run backwards? Usain Bolt, Roland Wegner, Tyson Gay, Johan Blake. In 2007, Roland Wegner set the world record by running 100 meters backward in 13.6 seconds in Germany. This unusual sport is called retro running and has gained attention in some European countries. It requires extreme coordination and muscle control. Such records raise interest in unconventional sports. What is the name of the ancient Baghdad artifact that resembles an electric battery? Egyptian bulb, Baghdad battery, Assyrian generator, Akkadian lamp. The Baghdad battery is believed to date back to around 250 BCE and consists of a clay jar with a copper rod inside. Some researchers believe it may have functioned as a primitive galvanic cell. However, whether it was truly used for electricity remains debated. The artifact raises questions about the level of ancient technology. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and leave a comment.